I'm here at the Age of Scotland Institute with Peter Popham, the author of The Lady and the Generals, which is the book on recent Burmese history, and Keith Wynne, who runs the British Myanmar Business Association. Thank you both for joining us. Let me start with you, Peter. We've had this astonishing turnaround in events in Burma, which has brought Aung San Suu Kyi to some level of power there. Many of our members will feel that we know very little about this lady. Could you tell us a bit about her ideology and what we expect from her in power?
I don't think it's exactly true to say we don't know anything about her. We didn't know very much about her 5 years ago. Now we know that she is ruling her party with a very, very firm hand. For example, over the past 3 months, she imposed a rule of silence on her MPs elect. They were not allowed to make any comments to the media of any sort. She has been ruthless in expelling people from the party who she felt were causing trouble, even if they were causing trouble on reasons of principle. So in that sense, she's shown that she's a tough disciplinarian in the party, which is probably necessary. She has also shown that she is determined to be personally powerful. She wanted to become the executive president. That was barred to her because of the constitutional issues. So she put in a proxy, U Tin Jaw, as president, who is a man without political experience. His wife is an MP, and his father was a founding member of the NLD. So he's been a loyal, close colleague of hers. They went to the same high school, but he has not got any political experience of his own, which is what she wants, because he will do what she says. So it's clear that she intends to be very much hands-on. The dangers are, the signs of that alarm some people are the fact that she has a tendency to micromanage, to get involved in even petty decisions such as waste disposal out of her MP's residences in Naypyidaw. She hasn't shown any talent for delegation. She's not good at surrounding herself by advisors or people she can trust. And so she's 70 years old. The danger is that she could run out of steam and that the administration could become inefficient. But that is to look quite a long way down the road.
But the army are still very much there, not so much in the background, but actually in the foreground, playing an important role in government. What can we expect from them in the coming years?
The army has been in power directly or indirectly since 1962. They are aware that they have mismanaged the economy very badly, otherwise Burma would not be at such a dismal level of underdevelopment as it is. So that's something which we can perhaps see signs of remorse. Certainly Thein Sein, the president before Aung San Suu Kyi's election victory, did bring in a number of reforms, and he opened up the country a lot, and people began to come in rather cautiously to invest. And the army is in control of the Home Ministry, the Defence Ministry and the Border Affairs Ministry. In other words, they are controlling their core interests, and also in the Home Ministry they have an enormously important say in what happens in domestic policy. So if they wanted to stymie, to block, or to frustrate the reforms of the government, they're in a strong position to do so. But as long as the government does not attempt to take drastic cuts to the military's budget, for example, the military budget is something like 40% of GDP, which is grotesque in a country as poor as Burma. As long as they don't try to directly hack away at the army's privileges and its wealth, I can imagine them wanting to play a fairly cautious game for the time being, because the core interest of the army now that power has transferred to the democratic government, is in preserving the status quo, which means preserving their own wealth and the wealth of their friends, not rocking the boat so hard that that stability and that wealth was threatened.
And Keith, from the perspective of the business community, what kind of opportunities are you seeing on the ground in Myanmar at the moment?
Tourism definitely is going to take off. The power electricity generation sector is a big requirement to improve infrastructure. Those are the two main areas. And education, UK has got very good education facilities, and there's a massive demand for UK universities, MBA courses, such like.
And in terms of challenges, what are the difficulties that companies face trying to operate there?
The infrastructure is poor. Electricity supply shortages, land prices are very high, which prohibits companies coming to set up offices or manufacturing plants. So those are the drawbacks, and the lack of skilled labour. There's a big skill shortage.
And in terms of foreign policy, Peter, can we expect Burma to be heavily under the influence of the Chinese, or can we expect something more balanced between China, the West, and other powers in the region?
The domination of China in Burma has been a problem, and a growing problem, over the past 10-20 years. And it's probably the main reason, or one of the main reasons, why President Thein Sein took the rather bold decision to bring Aung San Suu Kyi into the political mainstream and thereby get sanctions removed and open up to the West again after such a long time, to provide a counterbalance to the Chinese influence. All of Aung San Suu Kyi's friendships, political friendships and strong connections are with the West, and specifically with Britain and with the US. And it is largely thanks to the initiative of President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton that this political reform process got kick-started. Something happened which we will understand when Kurt Campbell or people of that ilk write their memoirs, which will explain exactly why and how President Thein Sein came to go off at such an interesting and productive tangent in 2010, 2011. So the West is a natural friend of the new government. Aung San Suu Kyi showed diplomatic good judgment by meeting the Chinese foreign minister as the first of her appointments on taking power a week or two back, because whatever happens and however warm her relations with Washington and London and Brussels, China is on the border. It's immensely strong. It's menacing in an indirect sort of way, militarily menacing even. And it's a very, very big, it's much the biggest economic player in the country. So China needs to be handled gingerly. It cannot be affronted too roughly, particularly at this early stage. So I think that, like Thein Sein, she is going to have to play some kind of a balancing act. Will she allow work to resume on the Mitsoan Dam? Will she allow the other extractive industries to be carried out by China? Will she attempt to get some tax revenue out of the illegal, informal export of jade, which is worth tens of billions of dollars? These are major challenges ahead.
And Keith, you've told us a bit about the opportunity, but there's also obviously a lot of uncertainty in terms of the political outlook. Is now the time for people to be looking at Myanmar from a business perspective?
Well, 5 years ago, the Thein Sein government started the reform process, which had been welcomed by major economies of the world. They've now acceded to the New York Convention arbitration, and the NLD government is going to build on that. They're looking to build a sovereign wealth fund, and NLD government is going to be market friendly. So my view is that the trend will continue into definitely the near midterm future. So if you're an investor, I would suggest that you go and explore the opportunities sooner rather than later.